It's May 8th, 2026. Officer Mark, Officer John, you do need to find out who was in my community health today in the staff room. You do, because I'm sure you got a tap on my phone like you've always said you've listened through it. It's not funny what's going on. Doctor was a lot more better today. But you need to find out who was in that staff room. Because I heard some things after you walked in there after I left. These people are so dumb. They are so dumb, they make your head hurt. Ridiculous in their insanity of thinking they're entitled to hurt people and scam them out of money. They're ridiculous within their thoughts. They're actually insane within their thoughts. No one has a right to harm anyone. The only time you can actually harm somebody is in self-defense of your life or another life. There is no other excuse. These people, now, I've went over the laws and the laws and the laws and how they're wrote. And where I've talked to a criminal attorney, the prosecutor's office, and the police. These people can't do any of this. And where did anybody think they could? Rapist, preying on people in their homes. April 6th, 25. I go over to Danny and Jen's home. Dixie and the girls are in there. We go in and sit down. Dixie stands up, walks into the kitchen. Jen's home is really tiny. It's not 5-6 feet away from where I'm sitting. She says, nobody thinks it's funny. She married that old man. Okay? Said some lady investigator showed up. Said she can extort all kinds of money out of the government for me and Melissa. Jen said, we want nothing to do with it. Lady investigator showed up here. Asked us if we knew anything about the tape of Weird with herself. Said we didn't know anything about it and we won't have anything to do with it. And I told her she had bruises all over her. She was throwing up and almost passing out, and I seen her like that. And I didn't put it together. She said, oh, that don't mean nothing. She said, yes, it does. I seen her like that, and I didn't put it together what was happening up there. We'll have nothing to do with it. And she said, she said she can extort all kinds of money out of the government for me and Melissa. And Melissa said the group of people they hired to watch her. They can't hire people to watch me. Melissa's part of hiring those people. She needs to be arrested. Okay? She said the chief of police up there gets special permission for people to break in people's homes. Think about what you just said. Are you ever allowed to break in somebody's home? Can the police give you permission to break in somebody's home? No. They can't even enter. Without a court order or without your permission. They can't enter your home. It's the Fourth Amendment. Gives them special permission to break in other people's homes, set up on cameras. No, they don't. Break in and do things to them like drug, beat, and rape them? No, he don't. And the way they described it made total sense. Because she's that dumb. And that lady investigator said, even though I gave her permission on tape to tape me of knowing of Melissa's mean games to pretend the kids were laughing about, and Dave breaking up the gunshot night, even though I gave her permission, I can extort all kinds of money out of the government. And she's going to extort money out of the government for Melissa, too. Sounds like we want nothing to do with it. She said, Melissa said the group of people they hired to watch her said Dave had to sit in the basement while she had wild sex with other men. Jen's like, we want nothing to do with it. She's like, I don't blame him what he did to her. And she walks out. I thought, what wild sex? Woman. Then I thought of the weird nightmares I had. Footsteps, a syringe coming at me, being smothered, can't breathe, screaming at the top of my lungs in agony. I thought they were nightmares. No, they're dog hazes of being drugged, beaten, raped, and he sat in the basement and listened to it. My brother's like, what was it? Some kind of thrill? He wanted to listen to a real rape? He listened to it. See, to me, Agent John should have shot him. Any man hiring men to drug his wife up and beat him, rape him, and they sit and listen to their screams under drugs, and the poor thing's so drugged up she don't remember what happened to her when it comes out of it, he needs to be shot. Now, I want you to think of the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution, how the law is wrote. The right of the people, the United States, okay? Everybody's right. To be safe and secure within your own person. We all know no one can touch you unless you want them to. It's assault otherwise. Okay? Your places, your papers, your effects, and your places, homes, papers, and effects against all unreasonable searches or seizures shall not be violated. Your home can't be violated. So why would they be allowed? Okay? No searches, no seizures, but upon probable cause warranted. You have to have a court order with the oath or affirmation of the people, places, or things to be searched or seized. Fourth Amendment requires a court order, not special permission by a rapist. Excuse me. Got it? The Fifth Amendment, you have a right to remain quiet. So why would they have the right to drug me and tell me to say stuff? You also have the Sixth Amendment, a right to attorney. Do you know you also have a right to a fair and speedy court trial? Do you know you also have the 14th Amendment of no money, no assets can be seized, but due process of the law, you have to be found guilty and sued for it? Do you also know that no U.S. citizen can be deprived of any protection in any jurisdiction? First Amendment, you have a freedom of speech. No one can take it away from you but a judge in a jury trial. You also have a right that only documented injuries, set amount, not by a judge, but by an impartial jury trial, set amount per documented injury. What's wrong with this? You also have something called HIPAA, which is a federal law that protects your medical records. No doctor of yours can ever talk to anyone without your consent. It's 10 years. They can't even go to another doctor. They can't do anything. It is 10 years, loss of license immediately. They cannot release your medical records to anyone either without your consent, signed consent, and picture ID, both sides. And they cannot tape you unaware because your right to privacy over your medical records. It is a federal crime for a doctor to tape you unaware. You can tape the doctor, but they can't tape you. The surveillance laws. Okay. Ohio is a one-party conversation recording. You don't need someone's permission. It's like taping a birthday party, a Christmas party. You have to be in the conversation. You can't do anything to them. Can't drug them. Can't threaten, nothing. You just talk to them. It's totally illegal. You can record it. It's a one-party conversation recording. You cannot set up button cameras in someone's home. That is cyber stalking, wiretapping, felony invasion of privacy, and illegal monitoring. It is not admissible because it's a right to privacy over your home. Okay? But You can tape a conversation if you're in it. It's like taping a Christmas party, an event. You can put them up on social media sites, and there's nothing they can do about it. If they give you permission to tape them, they absolutely could never say a word. That's stupid. It's right on Google that if a doctor tapes you unaware, it is loss of license and a 10-year sentence. If a doctor talks about you without your consent, it's 10 years loss of license. They can get up to like $1 million fine, and you can sue them. Want to keep going? Of the laws they cannot break, I want you to start thinking of this. Okay? And they're federal laws that cannot be broke. And for nurses and doctors, they're unforgiving. Unforgiving. See, that's where we went to the VA, where Carl's one stepdaughter, it has some kind of like medical something. I hadn't seen Carl in years. Last time she seen him, she took him for like $2,000. Didn't pay him back. Okay? Took him for $1,200, $1,300 for something, and then $700 for a dryer she didn't buy, and it's like $2,000 in a few months. Never paid him back. Got like cash checks of over $20,000. Never paid him back. And the signature is questionable if it was her mother's. Yeah. Get the idea? They threatened to have her call the VA and tell them that Carl had dementia or Alzheimer's. And we told them that. They said she better not pick up that phone. The day she picks up that phone, not only did she lose her medical license forever, she just bought herself 10 years federal prison. She owns a license. And she thinks she can talk about somebody's medical without their consent. She just bought herself 10 years in jail. It's unforgiving with someone with a license. Now, I want you to think about that. Chew on that a minute. What's going on here? How illegal and absurd it is. I told you of all the times they admitted to framing me, drugging me, and telling me, say it before, photoshopping everything and making everything up, including the dirty doctor. Now, think of this. The dirty doctor that taped her unaware before confessing a crime sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce. How many laws did that just break? 10 years for taping unaware, 10 years being in it with Dave, 10 years telling other people. And then if somebody got hurt and they don't report it to law enforcement, they can prove someone got hurt, you go to jail as an accessory. There's like 30, 35 years in that federal prison. See, that's how much these people don't know the law. And then April 16th, well, Christmas Eve of 22, I go over to Danny and Jen's, where they're laughing at me about a shower scene in the other room. They're trying to say Danny and Jen reported it. They were part of it. And all this other stuff. I went over and finally confronted them. I said, did you know on the 6th day where they kicked in my door? While we were at the storage unit, yeah. Dad said it was a realtor passing out keys. Don't report it. Yeah, I remember that. I said, did you know about body cameras? No. Did you know about they were taping in the bathroom? No. Did you know about a shower scene in the other room to make me look weird with myself? They're laughing at me in front of people in stores? No. I said, do you remember the orange, lemon, and grapefruit size bruises all over me, and I was throwing up and almost passed out outside, even in front of the neighbor by the second week, and it kept happening? I remember that. Did you know they were breaking in stores? They were drugging me and beating on me and telling me to say word of molester stuff? Did you know that? No. Thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. Didn't put it together. Jen's like, I seen you like that, and I didn't even think of someone hurting you, Karen. We didn't know anything about it. Kids came out of the room, hugged me. We didn't know anything about it, Grandma. had the idea. Kept going over there and talking to them if they knew this, if they knew that. April 16th, 23, about 4 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Cars bugged, phones bugged. After Jen's mom's memorial service, I went to walk out to my car. I went to get in it, and I looked up, and Danny and Jen's walking across the parking lot to my grandson, Gabe, he's grown, and his girlfriend, Shay. Said, I finally went to Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. Was Pete and his men in her home before? Pete has a frame, Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. Not a doctor. Just some guy named Pete. Dave hired him. I've never met him. I don't even know who he is. These people said when he went over there, when they were drugging her up, she'd walk by rooms and she didn't even know they were in the home, and they'd reach out and stab her with those drugs. And I remember thinking I got bit or stung. And going over and sit down, take a drink in the room, go dizzy and black, come out, I got bruises all over me, throwing up, infected. And I thought the orange well water was killing me. I thought it was toxic. I kept going to the doctor saying it. Never seen, never talked to anybody. They said they thought he was going to beat her to death times. I had orange, lemon, and grapefruit sized bruises. I have large pouching in my intestines. The doctor said, well, you've been hitting your stomach a lot and hard. And I said, yeah, I was getting beat up there. And he said, you got large pouching. They almost ruptured my intestine. I had bruises all over me, orange, lemon, and grapefruit sized bruises, severe personal infection. Almost passing out, lost 70 pounds. They induced vomiting until I lost 70 pounds. My stomach shifted under my ribs. I have a dent in my head. Now, I want you to think about this. I never seen or talked to anybody for the FBI. Never even had my neighbors in my home. So where did I talk to you? I didn't. Where did I have you in my home? I didn't. Where did I confess to any crimes? I didn't. Because where did I talk to you? And Dave said it was just some guy named Pete Dave hired on his own. Hold on a second. So, just some guy. He hired. Some rapist. These are rapist tapes. Done by a rapist Dave hired. They didn't get special permission. I emailed the Ravenna police. Okay? The chief of police called me back. Called me back personally. He said, Miss Hall, I interviewed all my officers. And they said they weren't in your home before, nor did they have knowledge of it. You need to go talk to the Portage County Sheriffs. I went up there and met with one. He said, Miss Hall, we weren't in your home. We weren't in anybody's home outside a protected custody case. I said, with statements in a court order. It's a Fourth Amendment, yes. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements in a court order, yes. I said, it's illegal to look and listen, yes. Okay. He said, and we had no knowledge of those people being in your home. Why? Because Dave hired him on his own. Dave did this. Hired drug dealers. Okay? That's why I was being drugged, being raped. I never seen her talk to anybody. Years ago, they said no man talked to her. No, we used truth serum on his head. No, they used hypnotic drugs. Do you know it's illegal to talk to somebody intoxicated? No coerced confession is admissible. You can't just break in and stab some poor little woman in her home while she's walking by a room and she goes, ow, what did I bang myself? Go in and sit down. Or what bit me? Take a drink in the room, go dizzy and black, and then hours later come out, got marks all over, throwing up and infected, going to the doctor as if the well water I showered in. and never see or talk to anybody, and some rapist playing with you. It's that bad. Not a doctor. It was just some guy Dave hired. And like the Portage County Sheriff said, it's Fourth Amendment. And what these people did is legal. I said, they're laughing at me in stores. They're supposed to drug me up and told me to say weird or molester stuff. That's illegal. I said I never seen or talked to anybody. And I told them about taking a drink in the room, go dizzy and black, or woke up with injection marks, bruises, going to the doctor with marks, severely infected, throwing up. And I said, these people are laughing that they were using sodium pentothal on me. That's illegal. And they're supposed to drug me up and told me saying weird and molester stuff. That's illegal. I said they're supposed to have been taping in the bathroom. I said they're supposed to have photoshopped washing in the shower in the other room to make me look weird with myself. That's illegal. Miss Hall, everything these people did is illegal. And we had no knowledge of it. So where'd you get your special permission? Dave hired you on his own. Was it a doctor from before? No, it was some guy named Pete Dave hired on his own. Just some guy. Just some guy. Dave did it. See, that's where even December 18th, 24, I went into Walmart 62. Some guys came in and they said she had charges. Somebody else said it was a drug cartel. Called up the Ravenna courthouse. They said there's nothing against her. It's a drug cartel. Chief Bruce Sawinski of the Portage County Sheriff's, I went on the news, said there's imposters up there. They are imposters of him, other sheriffs, and people in his police department, and federal agents. They're imposters. And they're scamming people out of money, and they're nothing but pure scum up there doing this. They're raping people under drugs in their home, and human trafficking under drugs in their home. I want you to think about that. That they had already scammed $18,000 out of somebody. We're threatening people. They're sending out fake arrest warrants, fake court orders. You look them up, they're not real. So I want to know, where's your court order to be in my home? The law requires it. Oh, you don't have one, do you? Officer Reinhardt in Louisville came over. 2021, said somebody had asked him to check on me. And I was telling him about all this. He started laughing. Crossed his arm, chuckling. He said, I don't care what they say they got. I don't care what they say they did. I don't care if they had something on somebody. We could never use it. It's the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution. Even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home outside that protected custody case with statements. And that agent had to have statements, a threat of life, from everyone in that home. He had to have a court order too. Or even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home before. But these people tell people they have the right. No, they don't. Stop falling for it. That's where December 18th, 24, those guys walk in. They said she had charges. We called up the Ravenna courthouse. They said there's nothing against her. It's a drug cartel doing it to her. Officer Mark told a lady in August of 23, it's documented, verified she was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in her home before they seen her. You're talking about a drug cartel stunt where April 24th, 25, Summit Mall, the Texas group, which I had Texas plates around me today. I said, you tell that guy Will that was to pull off a scam here to join us. You tell him it's all wrong because that other Michelle told on him that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors, and she doesn't know who he is. And we said, take care of her for telling on us. This whole thing's ruined. Well, could a doctor be with them Or would it be a federal crime? It's a federal crime. These people are so dumb. Then they go into real medical professionals. See, that's where on April 30th, 26, Walmart and Alliance, then I was in Walmart 62, there's girls following me. And they're laughing. They tape an audio in every aisle. And they were saying our mom was pretending to be a psychiatrist. And it was just her saying it and telling people not to believe her, not to help her. And nobody bothered to even check. She wasn't a psychiatrist. It was just her saying it and they fell for it. And they were laughing at him. Well, it's just like them trying to say a doctor from before. And it's just some guy named Pete they've hired on his own. It's a drug scam. Nobody else drugs anybody. See, that's where my friend Walter, he used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. He said, Karen, what these people did is considered a fraud scheme. He said, they made the biggest mistake. They did it in your home. They made a lot of big mistakes. He said, even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home outside that protected custody case with statements and court order. It's illegal to be in somebody's home. It's illegal to look and listen. It's a right of privacy over it. He said, and where they laugh at you in front of people in stores, they Photoshop that shower scene. They probably did of washing yourself in the other room. It's clicking and pasting. And where out of all the signs of being drugged, being raped, somebody was hurting you. Even though people didn't put it together, you were being raped. Even though you had all the signs of it. Somebody was hurting you. Where we all know you're sleepwalking with those drugs. They probably were drugging you up and telling you to say stuff. It's a big fraud scheme. They did the biggest mistake. They did it in your home. I want you to think about that. They made another big mistake trying to put a doctor's name on it with HIPAA. I want you to think about this. Now, how many people have they fooled with it? The medical professionals that know better. Because when you look me up, there's nothing. It's all a big scam. Where May 25th, 25, Hollister's teenage boys were laughing at this. Boy, did Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine that? He had some other guy go in and tape her in the shower washing herself and Photoshop that in the other room. And then had run a scam off of it who could steal her money, ran and scammed everybody into helping out. Well, they talked about that in 18, that Bill from the Freemasons was going to run a scam of who could steal her informant money. That's where all the scams came from. May 26, 25, Walmart 62, the other cartel, came in. We heard that they were making fun of Bill from the Freemasons because scam of the dirty doctor not being one of hers works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. And she doesn't know who he is, and the whole thing's a scam from Bill from the Freemasons. The cartel's tired of him. May 30th, 26, 1 o'clock in the morning, the lady that's part of the extortion group was with the Louisville police, and I bet they're cringing when she shows up. And said how she thought she could trick me out of a bunch of money, and she didn't think I was smart enough to know surveillance laws, and she found out I knew them. It's called Go-Go, honey. I had better teachers that loved America and loved the United States and the freedoms that come with living here. Okay. She said she was setting Dixie and Melissa up to go to jail for this. Trick them, put their name on it. It's like, leave the dumb girls alone. And said the investigators found the surveillance of May 26, 25 of the cartel, admitting this whole thing was a scam from Bill from the Freemasons. Officer gets out of his car. She mentioned Bill from the Freemasons. Whole thing's a scam, including the dirty doctor from before not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied, and the whole thing's a scam. He said the whole thing is a scam. Said they found the original case that her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. He said, no, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. Of course it did. They knew better. The law states if an attorney sets up button cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred immediately. They are to be criminally charged with voyeurism, that's sex offenders, illegal monitoring, felony evasion of privacy, cyber stalking, wiretapping. There's a list like 7 to 20 years federal prison. That's how much he can't be in my home. Can't be hired to be in my home either. It's illegal for an attorney to be in someone's home. And some shyster out there drug being, raping people in their homes, running drug scams. See, that's where, I heard that shit in the office, doctor's office, them talking about Melissa again. Melissa's a documented liar. You actually pull her record. She interfered in a federal investigation. Her kids are documented mean games of pretend. When the case started, 2 guys said they worked for the drug lords. They said that Melissa was going to help them get away with this by having the kids lie. You're kidding. No, I told them just to have the kids say, oh, you're kidding. So the police started following them around. Caught Melissa telling them to lie on Thanksgiving of 18 in a legally bugged house. The kids were playing boo in the basement. It was my turn to go down. We're all making them happy because they're little. Go down, let them scream, ah! And then you act scared. Okay? Said, on the 3rd step up after they screamed when I walked downstairs and then boo, 3rd step up, the house wasn't meant for Grandma. It was meant for Auntie Shaw and Papa. Grandma needs to get out. I look down. They're all in a huddle, talking crazy crap. I go up and I sit by Dixie and the new baby. And I thought, I have to die for a Shaw. Who the hell is Shaw? Flora comes running up. They're saying mean things in the basement. Dixie said, stay out of it. So I go up to John. My house is legally bogged in an FBI case. I said, what is going on? He said, I don't know. He said, I told Melissa, his ex-wife of only like 3 or 4 months. Said, I told her you're going through a divorce, going to be moving out. She'll just have the kids make up something. Don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It'll just be made up because of the divorce. She'll probably have her church people make up something too, but don't worry about it, Mom. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It's just going to be made up because of the divorce. I said, you shouldn't have said anything until it happened, but I did. And because I did, and no one can say anything bad about you, don't worry about it. And he shoots me. Okay? I go to Dave and I tape him. I hadn't even been around those kids 5 minutes in a whole year. Not alone. See, and he verified. And see, that's where, I hadn't even seen him. We were busy fixing up one house, buying another one, moving into it, and then those people were keeping me drugged up there and harming me. So that's where Dave verifies now this is Thanksgiving of 18. Christmas Eve of 2017, when we had dropped off the bikes at Melissa's and John's house. They were still together. They weren't home, and they got permission to leave them in the house. We went back, and we asked them if they liked the bikes. Why would we thank you? Some other lady in the church bought them. They made fun of Dave for having pot in his system. And that was after we had the attempted break-in. It had already started. Okay? Everybody was there. I was never alone. And they were sitting in there making fun of Dave for having pot in his system like he didn't know people smoking pot around him what they were doing. Like, it's stupid. He's 60. Okay? So, we're going to go forward. I didn't see him again till I said in one tape, March. But I got to thinking it was right before we moved out. It was in May, actually, of 2018. The last thing that had to be cleaned out was a garage. They kept changing the dates of the closing of the houses. Okay? And So we started putting everything in storage units down at Danny's, trying to unload this big house so we can move out right away. Got down to the bare minimum. Well, John wouldn't come pick up his stuff. What's the last stuff in the garage? So we take it over there, and they were fighting again. They broke up like, 6 to 10 times, if not more, in 10 years. They were always breaking up, fighting, getting back together. They were really toxic for each other, okay? So John calls us, she's leaving me again, don't say anything. Well, we don't. I mean, the most we say is don't fight in front of the kids. And if you don't love her, divorce her. Don't keep this up. Because it got so bad. And he said, don't say anything. And I said, okay, we won't. And I always told him, don't be mean to her. See, that's one thing I actually stood up for. I had more respect for Melissa than she did herself. I can see her packing through the window when we pull in. She comes out, her and the kids. She's like, hi. And the kids are running around. Hi. What are you doing? Oh, we got John's stuff. Oh, put it against the house. And then we talked about moving into our new home and we left. Okay? We're 2 or 3 minutes there. And we left. Not alone. Seen him again. Few days, like a week later, we were in our new home. We was the second or third day up there. We had needed curtains for the basement, so the house looked lived in because it had basement windows. After picking up a load at Danny's, we swung by Walmart in Massillon. The kids are little, come running at us, Grandma, Papa, what you doing here? Buying curtains for the basement. What are you doing? I don't know. Moment in time, we pass each other. I didn't see him again until the 4th. Okay. They're an hour late. They had stopped at a park, apparently. Okay. We had already ate, put the food away. Been doing dishes for about an hour. Everybody's drinking coffee. John comes in. Everybody sits on the couch. He wants a cup of coffee. I got a picture of everybody on the couch while I was making everybody's plate. They took 2 bites, yelled pillow fights, and ran to the basement. I threw the rest of the food back in the refrigerator. Jen and I grabbed bottles of water, and we walked outside. We're sitting on a small porch. John, Noah, Dave's outside, and Gabe, and me and Jen are sitting on the porch talking about our new retirement home. You could hear giggling and playing from the basement. It was a split-level house. So the basement was a family room, had a full bathroom, laundry room, the poppies, a sectional couch, and a TV and air conditioning, and it's the 4th of July. You can hear giggling outside. I taped Jen of knowing of all this, and Dave. I was outside with everybody else. We go to walk. After about 45 minutes, we get too warm because it's hot. It's the 4th. We go to walk back inside. We go to dish up dessert. Don't even get all the way sat down. Dave comes in. John left. I said he didn't say goodbye. He said he was in a hurry. He was only stopping in for the kids to see the house. Now, they didn't show up again till the FBI was there. That's where, what the hell? These people had made up where they said they photoshopped all their lies. Last year on July 26, 25, I was in Bob Evans and some idiot said, well, John verified it for well. No, he didn't. And I went off. How John defended me. He even, within a year or two, asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to help watch his kids and pick them up from school when he tried to get custody back where Melissa pulled a mean stunt with him. She snuck in his house, hid. When he came out of the bathroom, she lunged at him, screaming. He didn't even know she was in her home. He shoved her, being startled. Now I got you. Had him arrested domestic violence. That's not domestic violence. That's breaking and entering. And he lost his kids for a year. He tried to get him back. He said, Mom, I'm going to try to get custody of the kids back. I need you to be a reliable name to pick up the kids from school. I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first job, let alone the second job. I'm sorry, I can't help you. He said, but Mom, if you don't help me, you're not a reliable name to be on a court record to pick up those kids. I'll lose them forever. He said, these are my kids. I said, John, I can't afford my apartment now. I don't get off the first job, let alone the second one. One of my jobs only made $10 an hour. I barely made it. He said, but these are my kids, and he's pleading with me. And I'm like, John, I'll lose my apartment. I'll be homeless. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Well, he lost his kids. He moved to Florida years ago. Years ago. Met this new woman. He's married to her. And him and her started a church down there. Very happy. It's like this horrible thing had to happen, so he got a new life. Got away from her and her evilness. Okay? I got all kinds of text messages into 2020, 21. Love you, Mom. You want to go out to eat? You want to go to church? Happy Mother's Day. Merry Christmas. I mean, all wonderful messages. Now, was he part of this? Well, you'd look like a damn fool asking somebody to watch your kids, huh, and be a reliable name. Wasn't part of it. June 13th, 14th, when I was telling Carl about that mean stunt she pulled with him. And I said, hell would freeze over before he'd ever help her with anything. We pull into Katanas. People got out and said they had somebody impersonate John. They had saying he was John running around asking people to help kill her. My kid would never ask anybody to help kill his mother. He wasn't part of this. July 26, 25, where that couple I went off on Bob Evans, an FBI agent from 18 showed up at Walmart afterwards between 8 and 10 in the morning. They'd still have it. I told that couple never to say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago. He said nothing bad happened to him. See, that's where June 7th, 25, investigators, they went to Dr. Haben on Frank Road. He verified he'd seen the kids from 1984 to 2002. There was no abuse. They were very well taken care of. And there was no signs of any neglect. And they were very well, happy, rounded children. And very well taken care of. Or he would have reported it. See, you have to have proof somebody was abused. You have to be seen for abuse, treated for it. There has to be a police investigation and physical evidence the person did it, or you have nothing. All they have is a roofie. And a bitch move. I was in Walmart on the Strip. Within the last couple days, they said this whole thing was a bitch move. Roofing her and telling her to say something like that. And then photoshopping and washing. It's a bitch move. The whole thing is a bitch move. Now, I didn't know Melissa's Me Games of Pretend because I went back upstairs. Cops and vets knew I didn't know anything. They showed up after Thanksgiving of 18 in Walmart 62. Why are they having those kids make that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her into giving up the house. That's it. Her whole family's speaking highly of her. Officer Mark, Melissa could go to jail for this. Officer Mark, you need to arrest her. I hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. Just write it up. Her and the kids were showing off for Dave and his new girlfriend, so I don't have to arrest her. That Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Called her stupid. Okay? October 23rd, 2019. I'm at Burrell's first birthday party. And I'm talking. I said, do you know how mad I was when those kids said the house wasn't meant for Grandma and was meant for Auntie Shaw and Papa? Laura's like, that's not what they said. They said this, and it's filthy. And Josh went, ooh, don't say that again. It's not true. Well, of course it's not true. Of course it never happened. We made it up. They were games of pretend. I would have spanked them all. You don't do that. I don't care how much you want Auntie Shaw to get the house. Make something up and call you a bad word. That's all they tell me. I didn't know. They're documented in games of pretend. June 23rd to July 4th of 21, I went to Mount Carmel, Illinois. People followed me, and that weird Eric that was stalking me was calling people and their phones are going off. Eric, you said da-da-da-da, and people were screaming stuff at me. The woman that almost died to save her family. It's a drug scam. He's scamming everybody. And they were yelling stuff at me, so I lost it. Started screaming out the window, swearing at all of them. Said, you don't believe I'm innocent? Call the Massillon police. I yelled out their phone number. Whole street went quiet. Some guy off in the distance, they said it's documented me games to pretend she never hurt anyone. I left the next day. May of 21, I had went to Pennsylvania. Some guy named Kurt was paying for the harassment. And I go into Pennsylvania. Some girls look at their phone and said, oh my goodness, Kurt found out those kids were lying. It's like Kurt's Law, right? Well, I know the police watched me for the FBI case. And I used to feel really alone. And I'd go sit outside the police station. And sometimes they'd walk out and say something so I didn't feel so alone. And all this. And I went out and I sat there and I told him what happened out of the state. I said, well, Kurt's slow if he doesn't know. Two sheriffs walk out laughing. Kurt just found out those kids are lying. He is slow. Kurt tells everybody to stay out of it. Cops call him slow. October 5th, 21, I'm in Huntington Bank with a client and they were talking about Melissa lying again. Said we wouldn't want Melissa to get no money out of this. That's okay. They know they made everything up. They didn't want anybody to help her. We go to leave. He's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere they go. Said my ex-daughter-in-law friends with the ex's girlfriend had the kids make up some mean games and pretend on Thanksgiving of 18. He said they're still talking about it years later. He said, is she crazy? I said, yes. The apartment building for me is second close to the fence on North Chapel. Lady and little girls out there, 8, 9, 21, was talking about me being drugged and told to say it before 4 or 5 neighbors did a police report. And then before school started in 21, they had told them that they were lying. They told all kinds of people they were lying. And January 1926, I was in Summit Mall. After that, Henry Maffei showed up and announced he never met me in person and how he was going to try to pull a fast one on the FBI and steal all the case's money. They released Thanksgiving of 18. People came in and said they released Thanksgiving of 18. Those kids were taped saying that they were lying. And John totally defending her. Nobody better say a word. Okay. Officer Mark, August of 23 on a Tuesday between noon and 1 is documented and verified she was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in her home before we seen him. Walmart keeps their tapes for years, and there's a good chance at Walmart on the Strip on April 24th, or I think of the date. April 28th, 24. Should be about that day. Okay. April 28th, 24. I was told they keep them for years for legal purposes. Tape and audio. I go to walk in. Guys on the phone, I listen to the recorded line. That agent did admit to telling on her before. They needed to talk to her like that. They needed to do something about it. We go to the canned Veggiero. Officer in uniform shows up. FBI case. The police watch me. Okay. Says Karen, I look up. He said, we all know nobody drugs anybody but the drug cartel. There was a drug cartel in your home before. We all know that guy told on you before. I want to know how he heard it. He took off after. I go over by the ladies' clothing aisle. There's a guy on the phone talking to that Kurt. Kurt, none of this is funny. They have the agent over a case, admitting he told on her before he talked to her on a recorded line. They have her family tape defending her, saying that they didn't know anything about this. And the other one saying they made everything up. And these people admitted they drugged her and told her to say it before, photoshopped everything, and made everything up on her. Everybody stay out of this. None of this is funny. Pam walks by with her granddaughter. Uncle Dave said he had someone tape her before. Oh, they'll verify it. I walk outside. Investigators lost it, start laughing. Took her long enough to confess she was in it with Dave and those stocking tapes. Her family better never verify it. The police already have them taped saying they didn't know anything about it and defending her. And the other ones saying they made everything up. And these people admitted to drugging her and telling her to say it before, photoshopping everything and making everything up on her. That means they were in it with Dave trying to kill her and cover it up the whole time. I had a personal injury attorney. She told me for every personal injury, okay, you have to have so much to have a case. You have to prove you were injured. You have to go to the hospital. Did you go to the hospital? Yes. Did they verify the injuries? Yes. Did you take pictures of the injuries? Yes. Did the treatment for the injuries? Yes. There has to be a police report. Was there a police report? Yes. Because you have a dog bite, you have to have also dog ward. You have to have that. Yes. Okay. She said, now that you prove you were injured, you have to prove responsibility. I got a witness. You can't have a witness. You can pay your witnesses off. You have to have physical proof of a person, or like with the dog did it. And that individual dog did it, so they can't say another dog did it. I said, well, I have its DNA on my coat where it latched onto my arm, bit through, where it left teeth marks. I still have the coat where it's got the dog slobber all over it. She said, now we have a case. Without that coat and the DNA, I didn't have a case. So for Mean Games of Pretend, nobody went to the hospital. Like they said, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, sitting around laughing, making up stuff behind Karen's back. She's risking her life to get information on these people, trying to save everybody's life. And they're sitting around laughing, making up stuff behind her back. They ought to be ashamed. So, did anybody go to the hospital? No. Was there any pictures of injuries? No. Was there treatment for injuries? No. Was there any physical proof of it being harmed? No. Why? Because they're mean jokes. They were laughing about. You know that idiot in my old apartment on North Chapel? The one with Jesus on the back of his truck? Announced March 30th, 25, how he was in the office with that agent when they were fooling him. With the dirty doctor not being one of mine works for them and they lied, and how he was part of lying to that agent. And then later on, when I got my new car, he was outside with his mommy dearest. That's a nice car. That's a really nice car. We thought if we had Melissa show up and say something about her, police would take her car from her and give it to Melissa. Make her make the payments while Melissa drove it. We didn't know there had to be proof. We thought they could just say it. Police said they don't take money or assets from people. They just prosecute. What do you mean you want our car? And then turn around on us. See, no, we didn't know she had to have proof of it. You can't just say something like that. The law states, and it's coming down to the law states, where Officer Mark was very generous letting her go in 18. You need to arrest her at this point. If you have your children pretend something happened to them to get someone in trouble or to extort money, and nothing happened to them, it is extortion under child abuse, and it is a 20-year sentence. July 26, 25, after that agent showed up and announced that he interviewed John years ago, 2018. They said nothing bad ever happened to him. Oh, do you know what happened after that? Everybody found out Melissa was Mean Games of Pretend. We went down to Magnolia, outside the Bell store. People were calling for her arrest. And where they said that they photoshopped. Now, okay, I have Dave taped and Jen taped. That was outside. They were in the basement playing till we went inside. We went upstairs and they left through the basement. Didn't even pass each other. Okay? Because it's split level. You walk in, you go up 8 steps, or go down 8 steps. Okay? And they left through the basement door. Okay? Didn't even see him leave. All right. They made up a lie that they came upstairs. They were looking through a cracked bathroom door, and I'm supposed to be putting yeast infection cream on my sores where I was being drug beat and raped under drugs, and I'm blaming the well water. And they're helping making fun of me for Papa having me raped. And they're saying that they were peeking in bathroom doors, making fun of me. Oh, she's weird with herself. Blah, 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 blah. They never came upstairs. They never looked in a bathroom door. And I was outside, and that's disgusting. That's where I was in Magnolia in March of this year. They were in there saying there was people down there complaining that her ex-daughter-in-law was having her kids make fun of her for being her ex-husband having her raped under drugs. And she's supposed to be putting yeast infection cream on her sores. And having those grandkids peeking bathroom doors, making fun of her for being raped for his girlfriend. The police said they ever find out those kids are peeking in bathroom doors at people and making fun of people for being raped, they'll arrest them. Like they said, they didn't even think about photoshopping something like that. Those kids would go to jail for being peeking Toms. Looked it up, under 18, you still go to jail for it. Now, does Melissa have an attorney? No attorney would take her. So you need to find out who was in that staff's room when that doctor walked in there today. Talking about trying to get money from Melissa. I don't want to hear it. You can't get money from Melissa. She's already a documented liar, and nobody ever got hurt. See, and that's where where they lied. John has an attorney. John never verified anything for Will. John verified for the FBI nothing bad ever happened to him. John asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to pick up his kids years later. He's the one that told everybody no one could say anything bad about me. He was not part of having his mother murdered and drugged, beat, and raped, trying to extort money from the government. See, they act like this Will guy's God. And he's nothing but a rapist, a con man. I was out at Rapico's office, and some lady for the scammer was out there. Now, Dr. Rapico is a very nice man. I would never want anything to happen to him. He's a very nice man and has a handicapped daughter. Some ladies out there, John verified it for Will, and we have an agreement with law enforcement. We won't say nothing, and law enforcement can never help her again. John never verified anything for Will. And there's no such thing of agreement of law enforcement never helping you again, and you are doing nothing but lying to that man. You find out who was out there talking to him, scamming him, and John don't have an attorney. And he never went in it with Will. Because then he'd have to be arrested for having me drugged, beaten, raped in a drug scam. Because where did I talk to any of these people? I didn't. Where they said no man talked to her? No, we used true serum on her instead. No, they were stabbing me with hypnotic drugs, beating, raping me, and telling me to say things. And it's just some guy named Pete Dave hired on his own, him and his men. Some drug dealer, they call him a serial rapist, a drug cartel, and a drug dealer did it. My kid was not in it with Dave's crack-headed girlfriend and those drug dealers trying to run a scam to extort money out of the FBI. And he wasn't part of trying to have his mother killed for an 18-year-old crackhead. These people lied. That Michelle is a retired Judge Pete's daughter, friends with Ludick, let him get away with crimes. She's above the law, and the law can't touch her because she's a retired judge's daughter. I went on Google last night. Retired judges' children have no special privileges. Neither does judges. They are not immune from criminal charges, nor are sitting judges' children or judges. They are not immune from criminal charges. So where did you think these people were above the law? Because they told you? Just like Danny and Jen were supposed to reported the tape of Weird with Herself, they didn't even know anything about it. John didn't know anything about it. And John wasn't part of having me drug being raped. And he wasn't part of trying to extort the money from the government, and nor did he verify anything for Will. He verified for the FBI, nothing bad happened to him. And so did his pediatrician. Do you realize how big a fool you look like? Saying nobody can say anything bad about you? And totally defending the person? And then years later asking them to be a reliable name on a court record? To watch your kids? And then sending all these nice text messages? You look like a fool. And then you've never been seen for abuse or neglect? Like they said in Walmart on the Strip, on the 6th, it's nothing but a bitch move. The whole thing was a bitch move. Roofing her and telling her to say something like that and photoshopping and washing. The whole thing was a bitch move. You know, in Carrollton last year, there was girls from the cartel down there telling people, don't ever say a word to her. Did you hear about her crazy ex-daughter-in-law, Melissa? She was in it with her cheating ex-husband. Had a bunch of guys go in and drug John's mother up and drug her up and tell her to say stuff. Photoshopped washing in the shower in another room. And had her beaten, raped under drugs. Who does that to somebody's mother just because they divorced you? Who takes it out on somebody's mother just because their son divorced them? What a loon. Did you hear about her crazy ex-daughter-in-law, Melissa, going in with her cheating ex-husband, having men harm her? And the law is, Fourth Amendment, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements, with a court order. Anybody tells you anything different, they're lying. Call the police on them. And they were telling on her and calling her a loon. Now, think of this. If you're trying to claim something happened to your kid, why didn't you rush it to the hospital? Why didn't you call the police? Where's your treatment for injuries? You sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce, right? See, that's a big scenario. See, nothing bad ever happened. She'd go to jail as an accessory. Carl's granddaughter, her husband actually abused their child. She didn't report him. You can't hide abuse. You can't. You can't hide it for very long. But that guy got caught abusing that child. And she knew of it. He's in jail for the rest of his life. And she went to jail as an accessory for years. Lost her kids. She has another kid. The state takes it away automatically. His one daughter was going to try to get custody of those kids. They never need to have custody of those kids. They don't even need to ever lay eyes on those people again. I told Carl, I said, we make better parents than they would. I said, you could change the diapers, and I teach those girls to swear and to stand up for themselves and not let anybody walk on them. And I teach them to be strong, independent women. People showed up. We all know she teach those girls to be strong, independent women and never let anybody harm her. See, that's where I tell my granddaughters, you go for the highest paying job. Get the best education. You want to have a man in your life? You choose to have him. You buy your own children their own beds, your own home. And if some man don't treat you right, tell him to get out of your house. You take care of your own children. You hear me? You get the best education. Go for the highest grades, and you go for the highest education and the highest job. I never wanted my grandkids to ever be in the position I was. No money, no way out. And stuck with a man trying to kill you. And people abusing you. And trying to kill you. And no way out. And no money, no job. And you're stuck living in a house with someone having you harmed and trying to kill you. I never wanted my granddaughters to ever live like that. You know, one of my neighbors, I was telling him about Carl's one granddaughter. I said his one daughter was going to go for custody of those kids. I said those people should not even be allowed to look at those children. And I told him about what I said about me and Carl. He said, you and Carl make great parents. He said, you're great, wonderful, great grandparents. You do everything for those kids and everything they ever needed. My integrity, even I told Dave, we talked about Melissa having the kids lie, and that John said they were going to do it because of the divorce, and even Dave said, Melissa needs to stay out of this, and it'd be pretty rotten if she said something about you. Even Dave stood up for me. He said, Karen, you'd never hurt anyone. You're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids. You would never hurt anyone. And Melissa needs to stay out of it. I said, my integrity is not for that church to ruin. And my reputation, he said, no, it's not. And they need to stay out of this. I thought, dear God, they need to stay out of this. He's trying to kill me for a girlfriend. I'm going to upload this.